VXE R1 Pro Max. The F1 Pro was my best budget mouse in
After
2023, so
buying
after
the
the
mouse,
video,
I'm really surprised that
And this one is by far my favorite.
Today I'll show you why
Oh god damn. Hey guys, my name is Fatal, and after receiving hundreds of messages, we're finally going to be taking a look at the VXE Dragonfly R1 Pro Max. Let me catch my breath. So this is probably the most discussed budget mouse in recent memory. Now I am a little late to the party, but holy moly, did everyone talk about this mouse. Everyone was glazing this thing non-stop for like a month. The R1 is just everywhere, but I will say for good reason. One of the biggest is that this mouse will come in 4 iterations, all at different prices for different budgets. We have the R1 SE, the R1, the R1 Pro, and the R1 Pro Max, which also comes in pretty colors. I'm obviously uber stacked, so I got the Pro Max. So in the box, of course, you're gonna get the mouse. You're also gonna get standard, good braided cable, your good old receiver, and the little like metal receiver adapter that all Chinese mice seem to come with. You're also gonna find some extra mouse skates and BTL style grips in here. There's always going to be the paper, warranty info, blah blah. That don't matter though, you know. Throw it away. Hi. So first impressions of this, taking it out, it's super solid. There's a little bit of rattle when you're shaking it, but there's no flexing and no creaking. Honestly, just really well put together. Everything just comes together and gives it a really premium feel. Like a no way this is Chinese kind of premium feel, you know? But I mean, not only does this feel premium, it looks premium. The matte look, the little accent of text on the side, the copycat GPX scroll wheel that's slightly off center. Oh my god, it just comes together so nice. Something that I will say that also contributes to that premium look and feel is the coating. It's kind of like baffling how good it is. It gives the mouse a really nice matte surface, and honestly, I haven't needed to use grip tape with it, even though I usually do, because it's just that good. I really like how it shines in the light, or lack thereof, because it's matte. It just grabs it so nice. Ooh, makes the color pop. I will say that I believe this coating only comes on the Pro and Pro Max versions. There are a couple more differences between these two and the other two, but we'll get more into that later. Alright, so getting into the specifics, this mouse is going to feature a full solid shell, a PAW3395 with a Nordic MCU. It can go up to 4K polling rate and is about 54 grams. Now the other versions of this mouse are going to come in at like 40 something, 45 grams, 47, something like that. It's a little heavier than the other models due to having a 500 milliamp battery over the 250 milliamp. If you're super schizo about the weight, you can always go for the non-max model, but then you'd miss out on all these wonderful colors that you can get, which you can find on Max Gaming and Mech Keys. Not sponsored. I got my copy off AliExpress in a bundle with the 4K dongle actually, and it is cheaper, but it will probably take a little bit longer to get to you depending on where you live. Shout out to Small Stone Office Store, that's where I got mine. I think another difference between the R1 Pro and Pro Max and the R1 and R1 SE is the choice of switches. According to Mech Keys on their website, I believe most will come with the Wano Iceberry power switches. R1 Pro Max will come with Kale Blade micro motion switches. I've never heard of any of these, but I mean, I guess that's what keeps it a budget mouse. And I can only speak for the scale switches. The tolerances are fine, some pre-travel and a good amount of post. They feel pretty good, but boy, they are loud. All right, hey guys, sorry for the jankiness. I forgot to completely record this bit, so we're gonna do a comparison of the click sound and how loud it is, because I did say it was loud for the VXE, and we're gonna compare it to the GPX. So let's do that. All right, bye. While we're here, we might as well talk about the side switches and the scroll wheel as well. The side buttons have a little bit more pre-travel than I am comfortable with, mostly on mouse button 4, and just like the main switches, they're also super loud and super clicky. The scroll wheel has well-defined steps, but it is a little muddy, if that makes sense. It feels like there's kind of like a break on it. You won't feel it while scrolling fast or normally, but doing it really slow gives me a weird ick inside. It might go with time as the plastic rubs down, or maybe just wear and tear will take care of it. Clicking it, it is on the heavier side, and guess what? It's also pretty loud. Take a listen. Hey guys, it's future me again. Alright, so we're gonna do the scroll wheel. And I forgot to do the side button, so we're gonna do that too. Moving on, this is going to be a medium-sized claw-oriented shape. I saw some comments saying that this was the exact same shape as the Ninjutsu Sora V2, but those guys have no idea what they're talking about. For one, the Sora is a much smaller shape. Not much smaller, it's a small mouse, while this is going to be more of a medium. Huge difference in hand feel. I'd also consider the R1 a lot more bloated, if that makes sense. The rear hump is a lot more rounded, and the sides are, of course, a lot more flat. It's a very safe shape though. The flatter sides gives you a lot of room to adjust, and it doesn't force your fingers to go anywhere. Some may like that. I prefer my mice a little more curvy. I like my curvy mice because they give my pinky something to hook onto, and this mouse just barely gives me that curve. It's enough not to make my grip feel awkward. Kind of just feels like a GPX, but if it were made for like claw grippers. The sides and the overall curvature of this are just very similar. People also say that about the Pulsar X2. I only have the X2 Mini, and I don't like it. It's too flat for me, and whatever. Here is a size and shape comparison with the GPX, the Ninjutsu Sora V2, the ULX Medium / Lion, and my last mouse review, the Zowie U2. Using this mouse has been interesting. First thing that I went to do after opening the mouse was download the software to see if there are any firmware updates and to pair the 4K dongle I got. Well, the entire software is in Chinese. Now, AimAdapt does have a great video that helps with connecting the 4K dongle, but the layout seems to have changed, which makes things a little bit more difficult. I thought all was lost, but the Google app came in clutch. I was able to pull up the camera, translate everything from taking pictures, and got all my settings done there. And I mean, after that, I'm probably never going to touch the software again. And once that was dealt with, I was able to play, which was where I ran into my next two problems. See, I am a glass pad enjoyer. I like to play on my glass pads, I like to eat on my glass pads, sleep with my glass pads, walk my glass pads, whatever, you name it. Maybe this was solely on my copy, but the mouse teeters. Speaking of which, this mouse does come with your standard dyed PTFE skates, so my expectations weren't super high. And most of the time they are just good enough, honestly, they're fine. But the middle sensor ring, I think, is a little, either it's uneven or just thicker than the others, but it causes the mouse to teeter like a lot. So you see right here, you see how that spins so much? I thought that this mouse had like crazy good skates or something, but it's actually because of that middle skate is able to act like a little point and turn this thing into a, what is it called? A Beyblade. And with enough time, it'll probably grind down, but dude, it was making me go crazy. It was so unbearable. Unfortunately, most people use cloth pads, and on cloth, you're gonna be okay. You don't even notice it. And then with that mentioned, there is one more problem that I encountered again. It was just sensor skipping. So I turned up my liftoff distance to 2 millimeters and it was fine. Honestly, not a big deal. Finally, when it came to gaming with this mouse, it was good. After I'd overcome all those problems, this thing was so fun. It made me forget about all the issues I had, and to be honest, they're not that big of a deal. The battery life has been excellent, even on 4K. And again, keep in mind that this is the 500 milliamp battery over the 250. Again, I love the coating, kept the mouse grippy with my swamp hands. Performance has been overall really solid, really pleasant experience. Wow.
Nice.
This mouse just kind of fits in so well with my other more expensive premium mice that I always just forget how cheap this thing is. Like, for quadruple the price, you could buy a Finalmouse, and you hear that? You're gonna take a trip to Creek City. God, the R1 is so good. This thing is so good. This kind of gave me like a wake-up call and made me realize just how accustomed I am to buying mice that are like $150 or more, and how I found that so normal. Like, why is that so normal? Is it I think I have a problem. Anyways, if you're not able to cough up $50, you can always opt for the more cheaper options, but should you? In my personal opinion, I would be only willing to go for either the R1 Pro or the R1 Pro Max. Then that's because I've heard a lot of things about the R1 SE and the R1 having sensor issues. Maybe it may be due to the fact that they use a backend MCU, which I've never heard of, over the Nordic, but either way, I'm not willing to risk it. But let's say you're super lucky and you could go for the gamble. Maybe you get a copy with no sensor issues. I still don't think it's worth the savings that much because you'd be missing out on the coating. And I mean, I guess you could use the grip tape, but this coating is so worth the money, man. Oh my god. Sum it up, basically say no to the R1 and the R1 SE and say yes to the R1 Pro and Pro Max. With all that being said, I'm gonna give this 4 googly eyes. There's obviously some issues, things that need to be fine-tuned and so on, but honestly for the price, I'm not that upset. Definitely worth that $55. If VXE, VGN, whatever manages to tighten up those tolerances, get that quality control down, this would be a definite 5 out of 5. The shape isn't anything phenomenal that's like, I feel super locked in, no, this is game changing, oh my god, this changed my performance. No, it's a mouse. It performs just like the others, but at a way cheaper price. I really do love this mouse. I think it's a steal at the price, but if I have to be honest, I don't think I'm going to be putting this in my main rotation. It's good, it's just not for me. It's not tailored for me. And I honestly might whip it out every once in a while if I'm feeling a little spicy. Fuck, man, why'd I do that? Ew. All in all, honestly, this is just a super solid mouse. Like, I highly recommend this to just about anyone. If you're in the market for a new gaming mouse, consider this before going for any of those $100 plus options. I honestly think that this rivals some of those. So please let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. I know I've been kind of MIA in the scene, the peripheral scene, but hopefully I can start coming back because I have a lot of things that I have here to cover. Consider leaving a like, let me know what you had for comments in the dinner below, maybe even sub, and I'll see you next time. Peace.